Here's your host, Giuseppe Grammatico, the franchise guide.
What would be a couple things? The first would be, what would be anything we didn't talk about today, piece of advice for someone that just in general is looking to leave the corporate rat race, looking for something different, advice you would give to them? And before you answer that, the reason I ask this quite a bit is because there was an interview with the president of the IFA a couple months ago, or beginning of the year, and he said that 75% of individuals have expressed interest at some point in their lives of starting a business. And 75% of those people never move forward simply because they don't know where to start, which I found shocking, right? With the internet and tech and AI, you can just ask ChatGPT, I guess, where to start. But what piece of advice would you give to people that are on the sideline? Maybe they don't know where to start, or they're debating like, wow, leaving my job to invest and hopefully make a profit. What advice would you give to those people?
I would say two things. The first one, not to toot your horn here, but I think for so many people, using a consultant is such a better way than trying to dive in alone. Like, we get lots of leads off of random Google searches for like, hey, a franchise in yogurt or whatever it is. But really it makes sense for a lot of people, especially if you are a first-time franchise investor or you thought about owning your own business, but you want to understand kind of the pluses and minuses of this model, to talk to someone, and especially someone where, hey, if you ultimately decide either this isn't for me or it's not a great fit, you're not going to be out a huge amount of money or anything, but it's just someone who understands the space and who knows how to ask the right questions to potentially go, hey, I actually think you might be a good fit for this, or here's something you might not have looked at, but it's really exciting and it's happening right now. So I do think that for a lot of people, I don't say for everyone, there are a lot of different ways to come to franchise ownership, but for people who are toying with it and are feeling a little bit overwhelmed, I would say talking to a consultant, a good consultant, is a really good place to start. In terms of what's the piece of advice that I would give to someone in what they're looking for, I think, look, I'm an operations person, so I come back so much to the fundamentals, the business fundamentals. And I think for me, some of my best advice is don't get caught up with the fancy trimmings or the flash in the pan or news that a brand is hot or selling a lot of units, or, oh, the territory might go fast, whatever that is. Like, it really is about the fundamentals of the business and trusting your gut, because whether or not you know franchising, you can understand some basics. Do you understand, not what they tell you, but do you understand, why does this brand exist? Like, why do customers choose it? Why is it differentiated? Do you actually believe that what they offer is better? Or do you understand how they get customers and how they make money? If you can't explain, like, here are the main expenses, here's actually how it makes money, this stuff sounds very rudimentary, but I will tell you, like, it's easy to get caught up in, especially things that are they're trendy. There's a lot of news about them, a lot of slick discovery days where there's a fast moving footwork that kind of covers up the fact that you go like, wait, that emperor had no clothes. Like, if the ultimate customer acquisition strategy is question mark, like open the doors and hope they come in, that's not great. So I think for me, so much of it comes down to, there are a lot of people, a lot of resources that are around kind of, right, what should you be asking? What's the right fit? Making sure you get something that's a good fit. But so much of this is about the real fundamentals. Is it a business that makes money? Do you believe that it's differentiated and has the power to stay differentiated for 10 or 20 years? It's a space that even if you don't come to it naturally, you don't feel like it's a black box, like you feel like you understand it. Those to me are the very first steps to make sure that this is a good fit for you.
Love it. No, it's awesome. I really appreciate that. Last question. Fun fact. There's some interesting stuff over here. I want to see if you remember what you put down.
Oh, man. Oh boy, I say
so
like
something with potatoes.
Oh yes, oh that's right. All right, so potato related. So I grew up in rural Oregon, middle of nowhere. I'm Philadelphia now and have been in the Northeast for 25 years. But I grew up in rural Oregon, and yes, fun fact is that I was once a potato festival princess. So it involved a tiara and riding in a parade on a float and like they do the wave. Like, it's not really my vibe these days if you knew me now, but 30 years ago, there I was as a potato festival princess.
Maybe we can add that graphic. We'll ask the editors to. That's funny. I always I get some funny stuff. We've had some people related to celebrities. It was pretty cool. And yeah, they're like distant cousins and all this cool stuff. But yeah, it's always funny. I always like to, some people forget sometimes.
It's like, I'm glad you hinted because I would have given you away like an extra one there. Like, yeah, it's a lot of random ones.
Awesome. No, that's funny. I enjoy that one. So that's something we started asking recently. I really appreciate you coming on the show. This was a lot of fun, and I like these. They're very conversational. We keep it less
Mhm.
structured because we like to incorporate just conversation, but just the stuff we're hearing. It's the stuff that people want to hear. People need certain questions answered, are stuck in certain places, not sure where to
Mhm.
start. I'm hoping these conversations inspire you to at least move forward, even just, putting not making a phone call, but just starting the search on your own. And we try to give a blueprint. We launched and wrote a book during COVID, not planned, it just kind of worked that way.
Had a little
And it
time
just
on your
gives you,
hands. Yeah.
yeah, we were just like, okay, let's just run with it because no one was around anyway. So everyone was home trying to figure out how to use Zooms. But yeah, just things to think about. A self-assessment. We
Mhm.
talked about what are your strengths? What's an average day in a life for you? And keep it in mind. And I forget to mention this, but your average day in a life, day one, and then maybe 6 months to a year later, may be different since you're
Very different.
launching
Yeah.
that business. What does that look like? What do you enjoy doing? What are the things you don't enjoy doing? What are the industries you want to avoid just because you just don't like the industry? Maybe that industry is frowned upon for whatever reason. And I'm not going to name industries, but there are certain industries that people just are not
Just
comfortable
don't want
with.
to be in. Absolutely.
And that's okay. The more
Mhm.
specific you get, you can really kind of drill down.
Thanks for tuning in. When you're ready to explore your franchise options, go to ggthefranchiseguide.com to get started.
Thanks for tuning in. If you want to learn how to make the transition from corporate to owning your franchise, join Giuseppe on the next episode. You can also follow on all social media platforms and achieve financial and time freedom today.